Hello and welcome to this week's This is MediaCity. I'm Stephen Chapman. I am joined on the couch today by the boss of King of Sunshine Productions, Sohail Shah.
Hello.
Hello, how are you doing?
I'm all right, thank you, Stephen. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. We have got so much to talk about because your career spans a heck of a lot of shows that people will know all about.
Okay.
So stand by.
All right. I will.
So, Sohail, we start every single podcast with our yellow cards, which are random questions that have been picked out of our little generator. So we can find out a bit more about you and your background and how you got here. So please pick a card, any card.
Just one?
Just one for the moment. Let's see how you do.
Let's say this one.
Becky Want picked one and we were here 20 minutes later still talking about it.
Oh, favourite lunchtime hangouts in MediaCity?
You've been here a while, haven't you?
We've been here about 2 years now. 2 or 3 years, something like that. Yes. Yeah, across two buildings.
So what are the ones that, if someone's new here or might not know about, where do you hang out?
I mean, I don't know if I hang out, but I would say my tastes have changed this year because I've been more healthy. So we were just saying I want a calorie deficit. So my go-to for any day of the week, whether it's MediaCity or not, but I love a Greggs. I would love to say I'm really posh or whatever, but
you've been telling me about this amazing diet.
Yeah, so
I haven't go straight to Greggs as your favourite lunchtime hangout.
I love a Greggs, but I haven't been able to partake for quite a while. So I've been bringing my own food in, but when we do hang out, I like a little nibble down at the Alchemist.
Fair enough.
I must say we go there quite a lot. And where else do I like? I don't mind Moose for a coffee, actually.
Yeah?
Yeah, go there. And then, I mean, it's very handy having a Pret around the corner when it's just in and out. Because that's the other thing, I've never been very good at just taking a lunch hour or sitting down and having a lunch. But even at home, I don't really do that. I'm always like rushing around or doing stuff, other things to do. So I'd love to be able to learn how to do that properly. I encourage everyone to have a lunch hour, by the way. That makes it sound like I tie people to their desk. I don't. Yeah, I kind of like... my tastes change a lot, but what I like about here is that there's always new places popping up and sort of, or having a bit of a zhuzh, like Prezzo's having a zhuzh at the moment, isn't it? So that'd be nice to try. But if I had to choose one out of everything, it's Old Faithful is Waggers for me, always has been. I absolutely love Wagamama.
You've almost named every single one then.
I have, but I'm equal ops, but I eat a lot as well.
I was going to say, you must have worked at the BBC for a very long time. Other food places are available.
They are, yeah.
I'm going to give you one more.
Let's try that one. Oh, this is very big. That's for a little yellow card. That's quite a big one.
We like to put you on the spot.
It says, "What drives you?"
Yeah, and it's not Greggs.
Wow. Well, certainly not at the moment. I mean, at one point, I was basically powered by a gingerbread man. What drives me? I think lots of things, but without sounding very Oprah Winfrey about it, but I think what drives me, a wish to sort of be fulfilled in as many areas as I can be, if that makes sense. Yeah. So sort of happiness within work, within family, within sort of being able to do things with friends, which I don't get to do as often as I used to. That's one thing that I would really like to do because I just don't have a lot of time. I've got family responsibilities, work responsibilities, and I realised that when you set up your own business, I think you possibly think it's going to be... You have an ambition of what you would like it to be, of course, and an ideal, and you aim for that. But I think the practicality of doing something, whatever it is, but with a business, the practicality of doing it is possibly quite different to the idea of what you thought it was going to be or how it should be run. So everything's a learning curve. I mean, I think as well, another part of being driven is if I can take something out of everything that I do, whether it's like a little experience like this or a big long show, if you can always learn somewhere, I think that's really cool. Everything's a learning experience. So if you can impart that knowledge as well, even better.
That was all right. Well done.
Is that right?
Yeah, good.
Okay.
I've been trying to work out whether I start with a now or I bring you back to your past and bring you forward. Okay. However, bearing in mind what you've just said then about King of Sunshine, you're brand new company, brand new, a few years old now, isn't it?
This is year 6 for us.
Oh, it is
is it year 6? Well, sort of formulated very, very end
Yeah.
of 2019, but I always consider like the start of 2020 to be
Yeah.
before it started, and then the world shut down, but we carried on.
Exactly.
So it's fine.
One of the reasons I wanted to speak to that your name came up as a guest for this now
Yeah.
is because you just had a really big hit with King of Sunshine on Channel 4.
Yes.
And it's the second hit in a year with a very similar
Yeah.
format of this, which and this one was the Nordic train at
This
Christmas.
was Nordic train at Christmas, which is it was a 1 hour documentary, factual entertainment documentary about the Bergen line, which is the train that runs from Bergen in Norway to Oslo, the capital, and it's a 7 hour train journey. So we in the show we get on at the start, get on at the end, have lots of like beautiful vistas. You see the landmarks and everything along the way, the workings of it, the people who travel on it, the people who run the train, who work on the train. So you get all that, but then en route. So it's a commercial hour for Channel 4. So there are 3 commercial breaks. So there are 4 parts, and throughout the journey, once apart. So basically, there's a break in each bit. Once apart, we kind of branch off from the train journey itself en route and sort of descend into a little postcard about life along that. Well, this time it was actually the exact route of the train, which was nice.
The Alpine one the year before, you went a bit further afield, didn't you? Into some
we
of the
did,
towns.
and it was all within sort of the immediate area, but this one was kind of en route. So and it's various businesses and people who live and work in Alpine it was in the shadow of the Alps. This one was en route of the Bergen line, so like, you know, seasonal chocolate, all with a Christmas lilt to it, because obviously it's at Christmas. So we had like chocolate makers, Dala of Norway, who make these very traditional famous jumpers in Norway. This lady who ran a bakery that make kransekake, which is like a Norwegian cake. And then we went to the Oslo Christmas market as well, which was stunning. So it's a look at the trains, but through a seasonal lens, and the access is kind of what's amazing, because, you know, we're not unlimited access, but, you know, we're in everywhere, and we learn all about, and you see lots of beautiful landmarks and important areas of note along the journey, and you get some information about that as well. So it's a really lovely thing to do.
How complicated a production is it? Because obviously you're on the train, but presumably you've got drones and you've got second units and all sorts.
It's like, because when you say it like that, it's like a big film shoot. So let's go with that. But it's not, and I think I joke about it, but it is a military operation. But I'm very lucky. I've got a great team, and the learnings we took from Alpine train hopefully helped us with Nordic train. But going back to Alpine, which was the first one, it's a train journey, A to B, fine, but then you also have to factor in the 4 postcards that you're going to film, and they're not on the train, so they have to be filmed on a separate day. They could be a drive out. They could require, they always require more than one camera. It's whether you use both, but also you're limited by your program budget, by your crew size, the length of time you're out there, and also in our instance, because it's a show about Christmas, we can't
time constraints as well.
Well, exactly. We can't go out and film it 6 months ahead of time, because you can't go out to a country that doesn't have the right weather or any Christmas paraphernalia out on the streets that you're filming. So you could film it a year in advance, but like, who wants to do that? So working backwards, they went out at similar times, but Alpine last year, Christmas 24, went out on December 22nd, which was the Sunday night before Christmas week. So a very nice little wrapping presents evening time slot as well. So it went out on the 22nd of December. We delivered it literally a handful of days before, but we hadn't started editing it till the end of November, because we didn't fly out to film anything till November the 18th, I think. It was either the 18th or the...
So that's the military operation, is the pre-production, then, presumably.
I mean, it was... Looking back on it now, we kind of go, oh, can you imagine we did that? If you did it again... Well, we will do it again. We will do it again, Channel 4. But yeah, it's everything had to be planned to with like the nth degree, because you've got we were out there for 7 days, and the entire program has to be filmed within 7 days. You can't go back and reshoot it. There's no time. There's a certain amount of trains per day, so you can only go on the train that you're on. You know, all the jigsaw needs to be done before you land in the country. And from the minute you land to the minute you fly back, we were literally like working, and which is great. It's really, really good fun, and like what a privilege to do, because we've been on this two amazing trains in 2 years, which I probably wouldn't have gone on anyway. Hopefully I'll go on again at some point as a fan. Yeah, as a punter. Yeah, I am a fan now. I'm a real convert to train travel. It's great.
I'm interested to know, because it's not quite. There was a theme of slow TV a while ago, mainly during the pandemic, wasn't it? Like canal journeys and things like that. This wasn't slow TV, but it had that element of you kind of taken on this. You didn't need to engage. You were so engaged that you couldn't really do much else.
That's it. It's kind of I describe it as it's like a warm hug of a TV show. You, without sort of belittling the content, you don't have to think about it loads, but you might tune in because you're a train fan. Maybe if you like trains, you might tune in because you go, oh, I've never been to Norway, or I've never been to Switzerland. You might tune in, but I'm convinced from the minute it starts and you see what it is, it's like you sink into your seat a little bit, and you're like, oh, right, okay, that's nice. And I think the combination of the visuals, which are stunning, the content of what people are saying, what you're seeing is like super interesting, and the fact that it's all got this lovely Christmas glow to it as well, and people are in that sort of feeling of, oh, Christmas is coming, and you know, it's a nice time of year, everyone's together, how lovely to see something that's joyful. It's not derogatory at all, because there's a lot to be said for telly that doesn't have an edge to it. I mean, but I think we all kind of go, oh, that's a bit it's kind of, particularly the way things are at the moment, I think those kind of shows are so welcome and not on enough, to be honest. So I think it's kind of like the alchemy of everything coming together to sort of deliver it. But yeah, so I think the Bard shows, the slow TV, where everyone was just like, oh, is this all it is? But it was transfixing, and I think people took a lot from it. I don't know how it came about, or whether they would kind of continue doing it in that way. But there was certainly an element of us going, well, that's really good. So could we kind of do that on a train? Is there an element of that? But I think without overthinking it, that feeling of this is just a nice journey intrinsically came out in the filming anyway, because that's why people go on these trains.
With no disrespect to any broadcaster, and obviously just between us, are you surprised it was a Channel 4 one?
Was I surprised it was Channel
4? Did you pitch it direct to Channel 4? When you came up with the idea, were you thinking Channel 4?
It's sort of twofold. Yes. It sounds like I'm going to say no, but yes. So what,
you have to say that anyway.
Yeah, exactly. Love you, Channel 4. Love you, babe. But yeah, we went to Channel 4 because part of sort of there are different avenues of funding, you know, for all broadcasters, and Motion Content Group, Motion Entertainment, have a diverse indies fund with Channel 4. So we were pitching ideas into that tender, because obviously I'm a diverse-led indie, and because what I don't think is completely necessary is it's twofold. If there's a story to be told from a diverse perspective, I think a person from that perspective should be the person telling the story, probably to get an authentic feel, but that doesn't mean that company should only be telling diverse stories. And there is I've been on the receiving end of that from other broadcasters as well. It's like, look, hey, I do other things. And if you forget, 2 years ago, you might have been coming to me as a commissioner pitching your ideas. So if I could decide whether that should have been on TV, surely the other way around it works. So we were pitching ideas into the tender for the Motion Diverse Indie Fund, and one of the ideas was Alpine Train, and they were like, oh, we love that, and I went, good, because I love it and we'd love to make it, and that's how it came about. So that's why it was on Channel 4, and we love working with motion. We've done another series of motion, actually. We did one about the national parks.
With Caroline
Quentin, yeah, and that was a 4-parter. So our relationship with motion is great, and we love working with them, and they're always like talking to us about stuff. So when there was an opportunity to pitch this into that fund, we went with it, and then they loved it, and then luckily it was the highest. Alpine Train was the highest rated original of the whole Christmas schedule in 24,
which is an impressive feat, isn't it?
It's mad, really. Yeah, it's mental. It's really good. So I was really pleased. And then they repeated it, and it did like really well. So obviously we researched Beth, my development producer, who works with me. She got us access to, that was her idea, she got us access to the Bernina Express for Alpine Train, and she'd always wanted to sort of like do that. And then we did it, and it did really well. So straight away, like, you know, we're really happy in January. Straight away in January, like, what other trains can we get access to? And she was like, well, there's a couple. This is one that I would really like to do. And we spoke to VY Trains in Norway who run the Bergen line, and they had seen Alpine and loved it. So it was a great calling card. And we said, well, we'd like to do it with you and the Bergen line, and they were like, yeah. So pitched it to Four and Motion, and we did it again. And then this year again, it was the number one show of the day, the repeat consolidated higher, and we're already, even so we're now sort of end of January, and it's already at 2.1 million consolidated, and it had the highest overnight of the day, so it was the number one show on the day again. So I say that with a smile on my face, because it's like I'm saying it out loud and I don't quite believe it, but it is true. So yeah, we're over the moon. They're lovely shows to make, and they're hopefully the audience enjoy watching them.
And you've had quite a few kind of quite high profile shows in the few years that you have been in existence, haven't you? Is it Meet the Richards? You've worked with John Richardson.
Yeah, we did Meet the Richardsons. We did series 4 and 5 of the Richardsons with he and Lucy, and whilst that was in production, we also pitched John and Lucy's Odd Couples, which was a new sort of relationship sort of comedy game show.
Kind of quizzy game show kind of thing, wasn't it? Yeah,
for Channel 4, and that happened. We did a series of that as well for Channel 4. So that was great. What else have we done? We did a really sort of like high profile one was we did a feature length documentary for ITV called Agatha and Poirot Partners in Crime, and that was off the back of another show that we'd done for ITV about detectives, which was a countdown show of
best top 10 detectives or something.
Britain's favourite detective, exactly as it is. So we had a list that went in like the papers and online and Radio Times and whatnot, and the audience voted for who their favourite detectives were, and then we made the show that counted down from 25 to 1 to reveal who the nation's favourite detective was. So during the production of that, naturally Poirot and Miss Marple were in the countdown, so we sort of struck up a relationship with Agatha Christie Limited
who own the rights,
all of that, to get the rights to show clips of whichever Miss Marple or Poirot shows we were featuring in there.
And that was a whole host of celebrity. Was it Richard E. Grant hosted that and all sorts?
And then we did Agatha and Poirot, which we got Richard E. Grant to host. Yeah, so he was like just the icing on the cake, really, because I was like, we've got an Oscar nominee to front who's like amazing as well, not just like a really good one. So Richard hosted for us like InVision links, and we did the whole day with him. And that documentary was to mark 100 years of the first Poirot book, and sort of the quirk of it, rather than being going, oh, it's 100 years, it was the life of Agatha Christie herself, told in tandem with the evolution of the character, because what she experienced in life, she kind of translated those experiences into storylines for the books. So we looked at Greenway, her ancestral home, with her great-grandson James Pritchard. We went to where she lived in London to Escape to Write, and we looked at the Art Deco of that. We took Joanna Page on a luxury train to talk through, the whole Orient Express of it.
With you, isn't it?
It is, there's a train everywhere. If I probably look back, I bet there's a train in everything. I've just not really realised. And Stephen Fry took us through the modern day adaptations in a cinema, and then just guests talking about their love of Agatha and Poirot as a character, and it was like sublime. It was so lovely to do.
I'm interested because because you've kind of mentioned in a previous answer about you used to be a commissioning editor.
Yeah.
Which we haven't talked about. You also you started out as a runner, did you?
I did, yeah, in Manchester.
And you've been a development producer, and an executive producer, and all of those. So you've kind of gone through the whole bits of TV from, would you say, bottom to top?
Absolutely, bottom rung of the ladder to whichever rung of the ladder I'm on now. I would say the top. I don't know how long this ladder is, but yeah.
So I'm kind of intrigued how it all started for you, because I'm assuming all of these little bits lead into where you are today, because if you've been a commissioning editor, speaking to commissioning editors, you kind of know better how to approach them, I'm assuming.
I think so.
With a development producer, I'm assuming you know a bit more from the show structures and things like that. So how did you start, and was this where you wanted to end up? That's a big question. It
is. I was like, where do I even start with that? I'm very happy where I am now. Very happy where I am now. I think there's always somewhere to go, because if there's not, you've kind of done everything, and I don't feel like I'm anywhere near done. Other people may disagree, but I don't feel like I'm done. But in terms of starting...
Because you're not from a family with a media background, are you?
Not in the slightest, no, not at all.
You're from down the road?
From literally, if I come out of here, I need to... I could walk. I walked here over the weekend, actually, just to get some steps in. But normally, to go home, I need to turn the wheel of my car twice, and I'm home. That's how close I live to MediaCity. So I was born at Hope Hospital, at Salford Royal, it's now called, just down the road, and I lived here and went to school in Manchester, and it was always my intention just to stay. I was more than happy here, and as you say, I'm not from a television family, and I'm from a very traditional Muslim family, and my mum and dad. My dad he went to university in Strathclyde, so he's been here since the 60s, and then went back to Pakistan, married mum, and then they moved here in 1971. And then that's when they had my brother, and then I come along. I'm giving my age away. I come along 5 years later. 70s baby, yeah. So then I come along, and then I was just at school here like normal, and then.
But how does media come? Because in the 70s,
accident, really.
Bit of BBC, bit of Granada, maybe, and that was.
Well, if you think back in the 70s and 80s, because I remember when there were only 3 channels. Because I remember, like most people did, on November 2nd in 1982, being at home, and at 4:44. Channel 4 starting. I remember it like it was yesterday, because it was so. I was like, "Wow!"
One day I'll be doing train documentaries for them.
Imagine. Do you know what? Isn't that mad? Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. One day, because at that point I'd never considered a job in TV, but I think as a lot of kids, but particularly in my family, but a lot of kids at that time, I was obsessed with television and films, and like the whole kind of like I was saying to you before, like the whole glam of it, because I just thought, wow, it's like so cool. And not to say where I grew up is rough, because it's not rough, but at times you might want to stay in type thing. My mum and dad were very much concentrate. So my kind of escape, as it were, my thing to do was like I would devour movies. I would watch every kind of like TV show, probably stuff I shouldn't have been watching, but I was never really a problematic child, so I never really kicked off or anything. So I watched every kind of TV. So
that's where age, that kind of that idea that. Was there an idea that I could work on this, or was it just you were loving watching it? I just watched it, and at that point I had no kind of take on I'm going to go into TV. I just thought I love this, and that was fine for me. And then as I sort of like went to school, and my English was always quite good, and I always got like good grades in English, and I loved writing. So in my head I was like, after I'd got the whole, do you want to be a lawyer? No, I don't. Do you want to be a lawyer? Do you want to be a doctor? No, I don't want to be either of those things, so I'll be something else. So I thought I'd like to be a journalist, so I'll go into written journalism. So that's what I wanted to do. And then just you did that at university as well, didn't you?
I as an element of my degree, I did, right. But I did actually end up doing media at uni, and that kind of it pretty much was a sliding doors moment, because I met with a presenter of a show of a kids show that was brand new, and I used to watch it.
It was a gaming show, wasn't it?
Oh God, yes, it was. Yeah,
I'm sure people can Google it.
Well, the thing is, do you know what? I'm now 33 years down the line from that show, and I can say what it is because I spent 20 years hiding it. But it was on CITV, and it was a children's gaming show called Bad Influence, and it was on for like I think 6 or 7 episodes of series 1, and I watched it. And the presenter of that show, Violet, came into WH Smith on a Saturday, and I had a Saturday job in WH Smith in the magazine department, and we got talking, and I said, "Oh, I really like your show," and my dad made me go and speak to her because he made me go over, and I just wrote them a letter, and she said, "Oh, you should write to the producers and tell them what you think," because I said everyone sounded like they were off Emmerdale, because they did, because it was shot in Leeds. So I wrote them a letter, and Dad made me write this letter, and they wrote back and said, "Oh, we got your letter, Sohail. Thank you. We like hearing from people. Do you want to come and look at the studio?" And I'd never been to a TV studio.
Was this Kirkstall?
In Leeds, yeah. So they arranged for me to go down and look at it over a half term, because obviously I was at school. Yeah. And it was like dead exciting. It was amazing. And that was at a time when the Emmerdale bit was still there. Yeah. They were filming The Price is Right with Bruce Forsyth. Countdown was done there. They had news, so it was like, hustle and bustle. And it was so exciting. And I went in and I played on all these games, and these like new games, and was just telling them what I thought. And I thought that was it. And then she goes, "Oh, brilliant, see you in September." And I was like, "Oh, brilliant." And then I got a letter in the post offering me a contract to be one of the reviewers on the show for the next series. So
had you ever any thoughts, because you're not on screen now, are you?
God, no.
Did that put you off the on-screen bit, or is it just that you realised there were other things in the world?
I think I was a kid. I was 15, and to me it was like, I get to play loads of Super Nintendo games before they're released. That's cool. I'll do that. It doesn't really seem hard. I had no wish. I had absolutely no wish to be on TV. I've never done it again because I don't want to be on TV. I don't see why. It makes me feel sick at the thought of it, to be honest. But what it did do was, because I looked older then than I actually. I mean, I don't look like this, but I didn't look too dissimilar to this then. So I think when I was walking around, production team wise, and just walking around the studio, I think everybody thought I was older than I was. So they never treated me like one of the on-screen kids, because there were kids on that show. And I got to write my own lines, whereas everyone else said what they thought, and the researchers used to write it and then repeat it, whereas I did my own, and I would make stuff up and everything. And they let me do that more and more. So I ended up doing that show actually for 3 years, 4 series across 3 years. And by the end of it, I was a bit like, oh God, I don't want to do it anymore. But then it got axed anyway. But what it did do was solidify my wish of journalism, written journalism, right. Changed it into broadcast journalism, because I thought, oh, this TV thing's quite good. And that's what I did. So I did that at uni. And then when at uni, I sort of approached Granada for work experience, because obviously they were just down the road, because uni holidays are quite long, aren't they? And I always had stuff to do. And I got placements there, met with people, and that's kind of what started it all for me.
Because if you look at your background and what you've done, and I'm just going to reel off some show titles here.
All right.
I reeled them off at the start, but I'm going to do it again. Eurovision Song Contest, you've been involved in.
Yeah.
Top Gear I've got in here as well.
Yeah, just for a couple of specials, but
just a couple of specials.
Yeah.
Graham Norton.
Yeah.
The Apprentice.
Yeah.
And that was in the Apprentice spin-off, was it?
You're Fired.
You're Fired. Yeah. That's just a start of them, and is that through development producing? Is that through executive kind of?
So
what
those titles, I was the commissioner and exec on those. So that was kind of like, when did I start at the BBC? So 2015, and I was I'll never forget my very first day in commissioning, which kind of came out of nowhere. Because I'd always wanted to be, when I was working, I always thought, wouldn't it be great to be a commissioner?
Because that's the dark side for most producers, isn't it?
It is a dark side. It is a dark side.
It's like moving from journalism to PR.
It is. It's kind of like here's the desk. You're just edging around the other side, having a look, and then going back round again. It's very much that kind of, it's the Slytherin of it all. But I was always fascinated by it because I just love the whole dynamics of TV. Everyone knows that I do, and it's kind of, I've done idea creation in development. I've done the making of something in production. The next bit of the puzzle for me was what's it like doing that bit, which seems really unattainable, as being part of the team that decides what goes on TV that the nation is watching. That's never going to happen for me, but wouldn't it be great if, how nice, and I'd always applied for commissioners' jobs, and if ever one came up, and I didn't even get interviews, so I was like, well, okay, that's not for me. And then I was about to, I don't know why I'm laughing, but I was about to be 40, and I was like, oh, what does life mean? All this. And I keep getting passed over for these jobs, and then completely out of the blue, I got a phone call offering me a commissioner's job, and I was like, this is it now. I'm going to do this. And I took it, and I started in 2015 and at the BBC, which, I mean, if I was going to do it, what an unbelievable place to be at, the biggest shows, the biggest team.
So this was BBC Entertainment.
This was BBC Entertainment, Strictly, Apprentice, all those shows. Yeah. Question of Sport at the time, University Challenge, Top of the Pops, everything that and that's the mad thing, everything I've watched as a fan growing up is made out of this place, along with big ITV shows as well, but BBC, it's BBC, and then what? I'm going to be part of that team. Are you having a laugh? So I thought it was great, and I started. And on my very first day, Mark Lindsay, who offered me the job, we went for a coffee, and he said, "Oh, welcome. The team know you're here. Blah blah. We can't wait to have you. And these are the shows that you're going to be. I want you to look after. So as well as people coming in to pitch to me and development. But then he handed me a load of shows, and we had a coffee at 9:30. It was great." And went back to my desk, and then he went off, and my very first day was the day where the story broke about Top Gear.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so my very first day of commissioning was for me, it's close to me because it was my first day of commissioning. Everyone else goes, is that the day you started? Because we remember that happening. But yeah, no one forgets that day. And then I ended up doing the finale of the 3 for Christmas for the A to Z, literally the A to Z of Top Gear. And then I got given those to do. So it was like a whole circle, really, full circle moment.
But then you left commissioning and you opened up your own production company.
I did.
Which commissioning editors have been known to do. You're not the first to have done that.
I'm not. I was going to say something then which I shouldn't say. Right, I won't say that because that will get me lynched. Yes. Yeah, I'm not the first one to have done that, Stephen. You're right. Yeah, no. Yeah.
But does it help that? Because there are people who'll be watching this going, I want to start my own production company, and they might just be great at content, but they're trying to work out how to get into the BBC, ITV, Channel 4, etc.
Yeah.
Whereas I suppose if you've been a commissioning editor and you've been through all the roles you've done previously, you know the person to phone up and they know you. So does that automatically put you make those conversations easier? Like if I was trying to sell a train journey around at Christmas, they'd probably answer your call before mine, is what I'm trying to say, because they know who you are.
I think now, if we made that phone call now, they would take mine before yours because I've got 2 train journeys behind me. When we were trying to sell a train journey, for example, let's just use that as the example. What I found a lot is, oh, but you don't do that kind of thing though, Sohail. You do jazz hands entertainment shows, don't you? And I'm like, I do, but I've also...
You should see the conductor.
Exactly, yeah. These hands, but I do lots of other shows as well, And I think it is very easy and convenient to pigeonhole companies into going, you do this, you do that. And I understand why it happens, because the diversity of supply should be there, but also with budgets being shrunk, but less opportunity, you're not going to want to risk everything you've got on an unknown quantity, basically. But I would like to think, having had well, in my opinion anyway, other people might disagree, having had quite a robust production career across multiple genres, I would like to think I can turn my hand to most things. Some things I'm better at than others, of course. I mean, I'm not going to turn around and say, I will do you a kind of, an Attenborough anthropomorphic look at, although I have done an Attenborough. Just one, but I have done one. But, you're not going to come to me for that. And I'm fine with that, and I get that. But at the same time, don't tell me that you can't do a factual show. You can't do that because I can. And I think it's twofold. Being a commissioner has given me an insight into what a channel might... Well, I can only speak for the BBC because that's where it was. Yeah. But across the board, it's probably the same. It's given me an insight into... it's made me more chilled out about stuff because before I went into commissioning, when I was in development, for example, heading up departments, you do your ideas, you pitch it, and you're like, they've not got back to us. I mean, I am like that now. They've not got back to us. Why have they not? And then they do. And, 9 times out of 10, it's a no, because just law of averages. And you kind of go, oh, right. Some people might give you a reason as to why, which is always very welcome, and I always very much appreciate. And if they can quantify it with proper reasoning, that's actually invaluable, because you kind of go, okay, I've logged that didn't work because... If it's content-wise, that didn't work because they weren't looking for that. If it doesn't work because there's no slot, okay, well, that's good to know as well. All of those things. So you can always take from it. But I don't like when they go, well, I mean, it's just not what we want now. And it's like, well, it was when we had the chat 3 weeks ago. Yeah. Don't be that disrespectful, because what I would say is, when I was in commissioning, because I was a program maker or had been, I was always on the side of the companies that were pitching ideas, and I could appreciate the challenges that they were facing, and I would try anyway to be as open and as informative and as helpful as I could be, because there's nothing, we all know who we're talking about. There's because they're everywhere. They're literally everywhere. There's a lot of people that are in those roles, and I will say it, a lot of people should not be in commissioning who are in commissioning, but ours is not to reason why. They don't give you any feedback, they don't give you any steers. So if that's your actual responsibility, to be guiding the production community to come to you with the ideas for your channel, and you're not able to do that sufficiently or even somewhat adequately, really, should you be in that role? I would argue not. So I know who I like dealing with, and I know who to go to. And you were saying about, can you make a phone call? I mean, I'm never really on, I mean, some people I am, but I'm not really... You have to maintain a work-based respect between people as well. I think you can't always expect someone to go, oh, can we have this, can we have that? It's always nice to know things, of course, but you need to be able to deliver as well. So I think being in commission has given me an insight into how to pitch hopefully at the right time, and just glean what I need from people when I think there's an opportunity there. Because we can all have chats with people till we're blue in the face, but if there's no reason and there's no slots, why bother? Life's too short, isn't it?
Has owning a production company been how you expected it to be?
In some ways, yes. I think owning your own company, or like starting your own company, is an undertaking that you absolutely have to want to do. I don't think you can go into it half-heartedly. So if you're going to do it, you need to know that, like, this is you now. This is, or for however long you do it. But you need to be committed, and you need to be realistic about what that means. And by that, I mean there is a financial commitment, and that's across the board. There is a huge demand on your time, on your ability to smile and have a coat hanger in your mouth the whole time, and just be as... not upbeat, because we're all human, but just kind of ride with the punches, because there are when you get something away, it's literally the best thing ever. It's so good because it's like this amalgamation of all this like hard work that everyone's put in, and it's actually you feel validated because someone, whoever it is along the line, has gone, I see something in that, let's do it. So you get that high of like going, yes, we've got a commission. Then the abject fear of having to make it and deliver it and make sure it's what you say it was going to be, but then hopefully you do and people like it, and then that's great as well, and it's wonderful. What I need to learn is probably enjoy the highs more, because not just with TV, but it's just my personality. It's kind of, I like it, and then I'm over the moon for like 24 hours, and I'm like, great, done that. What's next? And that's fine.
You're like a Premier League footballer. I've won my trophy.
Well, I mean, if I could have their wages, I'd love that. But then, yeah, I'm always looking for the next thing, but trying to enjoy the moment as well. But I always encourage the teams to like really revel in the fact they've done a good job. So, because they have. I mean, I can run a company, but without the right people around you and the right people making the shows, I'm nothing really. It's just a name on a door, on company's house. You want to build something that people might know or come to you for certain things, and hopefully we're in that position now where we can. So I think it's there's a long way to go still for me. There's lots of things I'd like to do. The world is changing, broadcasting is changing, so I think everybody needs to pivot, and I'm actively looking at how we can do that too. But I love what I do. I can't really envisage. Well, I'm not really trained to do anything else. I was going to say, well, I can't imagine doing that. I'm not really trained to do anything else. So this is me now. This is what I have to do.
I'm going to have to wrap up because although I feel I've only brushed the surface on here, I'm also aware that time is running out on us.
Sorry, I told you I'd just go on for ages. You should have told me to shut up. That's
no, it's all right.
Easily done.
It's really interesting what you said. What I was going to ask you though as a final question was, like young kids who's watching TV in Salford just round the corner.
Yeah.
Can you even envisage now, looking back, kind of that idea that you are now here running a production company? You've done all these amazing things across all of the terrestrial channels, and is there kind of that reality check sometimes of, oh my God, this is what I've done?
I think it's hysterical. It is reality because obviously I live it every day, but I don't think 15-year-old me that was playing a computer game and then just watching television and going, oh my God, amazing. I don't think that person would even believe that this is happening. Because I kind of, even now I catch myself going, wow, we just met such and such, or we just went on this gorgeous train journey. You know, what a privilege that is. And I can't quite, even I was saying to you now, I'm smiling because I'm like, oh my God, we did that.
We had that Richard E. Grant do one of my shows.
Do you know what I mean? Like these amazing people that I've grown up watching, and just to like meet them or see them is like great. Because I am still a massive TV fan. So if I see somebody, I mean, I'm almost 50 now, but if I see somebody that I've watched growing up, like, I completely fanboy over them, because why would you not? It's like, it should be that way. I think it keeps you engaged. So I am aware of what we're doing, and I'm very happy about that. But I think I keep a healthy kind of detachment from everyone goes, oh yeah, look what you've done. Yeah, it's nice, but no need to get a big head about it. It's like we're doing it. And if there was, if there's a 15-year-old a bit like me now that I met and he or she said, could you talk to me about working in TV, would you recommend it? I'd be like, come and sit down, I'll tell you what TV is like. Yeah, it's great. So I mean, I think it's I love what I do. I'm very lucky.
That seems like a perfect way to end. So thank you ever so much for
Stephen.
coming on. This is MediaCity. Now, this is MediaCity as a 39 Pictures production on behalf of MediaCity and in partnership with the University of Salford, and the team behind the scenes are graduates and undergraduates from the university. So please remember to like, subscribe, share and comment, and we will see you next week. The production team are Meg Bond, Tegan Easton and James Young.